The city was alive with lights that twinkled like stars caught between towering buildings. In the middle of all this was a famous restaurant called the Sapphire Room. It was a place where the rich and powerful met, a place where dreams were made or broken. Tonight, the restaurant was especially busy. It was the kind of night where every person in the room hoped for something big. Among the guests was Mr. Larson, a billionaire who was well known across the country. People often spoke about his wealth, but also about his sharp words and cold attitude. To some, he was a man of power and respect. To others, he was feared. Tonight, Mr. Larson was here for one reason: a meeting that could make or break a $3.5 billion business deal. This deal was important not just to him, but to many people who worked for him. Sam, a young waiter, was new at the Sapphire Room. He had been working here for only a few weeks. Sam was not wealthy like the people he served, but he was proud of his job. He worked hard every day, trying to learn everything he could. Sam's dream was simple: he wanted to take care of his family and have a better life. The evening began like any other for Sam. He was nervous but eager to do well. He had already served several tables and received polite thanks, but nothing special. Now, his next task was to serve Mr. Larson's table. Sam wiped his hands on his apron, took a deep breath, and walked toward the billionaire's table. Mr. Larson looked up from his phone as Sam approached. His eyes quickly scanned the young waiter. Sam smiled politely and said, "Good evening, sir. May I take your order?" Mr. Larson didn't smile back. Instead, he frowned and said, "I want the grilled chicken with extra sauce. Make sure you get it right." His tone was sharp, almost as if he was annoyed just talking to Sam. Sam nodded quickly, trying not to let the words bother him. "Yes, sir. I will bring it right away." Sam went back to the kitchen and told the chef about the order. But in the rush of the busy restaurant, a small mistake happened: the order was not noted correctly. Instead of grilled chicken, the kitchen prepared roasted chicken with no extra sauce. When the food arrived at Mr. Larson's table, Sam carefully placed the plate in front of him. Mr. Larson looked at the food and immediately frowned. "What is this? I asked for grilled chicken with extra sauce, not roasted chicken with no sauce. Can't you even do this simple thing right? Are you stupid?" The words were loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Some people looked away, uncomfortable. Sam's heart sank. He felt a burning shame, but he stayed silent. He wanted to say something, to explain, but the words caught in his throat. Sam looked down and said quietly, "I'm sorry, sir. I will fix it immediately." Mr. Larson didn't wait for an answer. He waved his hand and said sharply, "Forget it. Just get me the manager." Sam's hands trembled slightly as he walked away to find the restaurant manager. The whole restaurant seemed to grow quieter, as if waiting for what would happen next. Sam's manager, Mr. Collins, was a calm man in his 50s. When Sam told him what had happened, Mr. Collins nodded and said, "Don't worry, Sam. I will handle this." Mr. Collins walked over to Mr. Larson's table and apologized for the mistake. He promised to have the correct order prepared right away and offered a small discount on the meal. Mr. Larson accepted without another word and began checking his phone again. Back in the kitchen, Sam felt a mixture of sadness and frustration. He knew the mistake was not entirely his fault, but he couldn't help feeling responsible. More than that, the hurt from being called stupid stayed with him. He wiped his hands and tried to focus on the next table, but the words echoed in his mind. Meanwhile, Mr. Larson finished his meal, unaware that this evening would soon take an unexpected turn. Unknown to him, someone was watching every moment. The restaurant had a secret. Hidden among the staff was a special guest, someone pretending to be just another waiter, but actually there for a very different reason. This person was part of a company's program to find out the truth about how business was really done. They were known as an undercover boss. This undercover boss was there to learn how things worked at the restaurant and to see how people treated each other, no matter their position. They watched carefully as Mr. Larson's harsh words made Sam shrink back. They noticed the sadness in Sam's eyes and the way the manager tried to fix the problem. But what the undercover boss saw next would surprise everyone. Mr. Larson's attitude, that cold and proud mask he wore, would soon face a test he never expected. In the world of big business, deals are not just about money. They are about respect, trust, and how people treat each other. One wrong move can change everything. As the night moved on, the undercover boss quietly took notes, preparing to reveal a truth that could shake the world of billionaires and change the life of a humble waiter forever. The night grew deeper, and the restaurant slowly began to empty. The bright chatter turned into soft whispers, and the clinking of glasses gave way to the quiet sounds of cleaning. But inside, the tension was still thick, especially around the table where Mr. Larson sat. Sam was back to his duties, but his mind wasn't on the plates or the orders anymore. The sting of Mr. Larson's words kept echoing in his heart. He wondered if he had done something wrong, or if some people were just born to be unkind. The thought made his chest tighten. He wished the night would end quickly so he could go home to his family. Meanwhile, Mr. Larson leaned back in his chair, feeling satisfied with the meal but still unsettled. This was supposed to be the night everything changed for him, a big deal, a big win. Yet, inside, he was restless. The pressure of the meeting, the weight of the billions at stake, it was more than he liked to admit. Across the restaurant, the undercover boss, Sarah, quietly observed everything. Sarah was not just any boss, she was a strong woman who believed in fairness and respect. She had spent years working hard to climb the ladder in her own company. Now, she was here to learn, not just about the restaurant, but about how people behaved when no one was watching. Sarah had noticed something important. It wasn't just the way Mr. Larson treated Sam. It was how the whole room changed because of that moment, the silence, the discomfort, the invisible walls between people. It told her a story about respect, or the lack of it. Later, when the restaurant was almost empty, Sarah approached Sam quietly. "You did well tonight," she said softly, smiling. Sam looked up, surprised. "Thank you, ma'am," he replied politely. "But I made a mistake." Sarah shook her head. "No, the mistake was not yours alone. Sometimes, things happen. What matters is how people treat each other after that." Sam's eyes filled with hope. "But Mr. Larson, he called me stupid. It hurt a lot." Sarah nodded, understanding. "I know it did. But you should know something, how someone treats you in one moment does not define who you are." At that moment, Sam felt a little lighter. He had been carrying a heavy burden all evening, and now, someone believed in him. The next day, Mr. Larson was already back in his office, surrounded by his team. His phone rang constantly. The $3.5 billion deal was close to being signed, and everyone waited for his final approval. But then, something strange happened. One of Mr. Larson's key partners called with bad news. They had heard about his behavior at the restaurant, about how he spoke to the waiter. It was spreading quickly, not as a business secret, but as a story about character. The partner said quietly on the phone, "We cannot move forward if this is how you treat people. Respect is as important as money in this deal." Mr. Larson felt the cold air rush through his body. A simple moment, a few words, and suddenly, everything was in danger. He tried to explain, "It was just a small mistake. I was frustrated." But the damage was done. Across the city, Sarah watched from a distance, knowing the truth was about to come out. She had recorded everything that night, not on a camera, but in her heart and in her notes. She decided it was time to reveal herself. The next day, Sarah arranged a meeting with Mr. Larson. He was curious but also cautious. No one had told him who the undercover boss was, or what they knew. When Sarah walked into the room, she looked him in the eye and said, "Mr. Larson, I was the waiter you spoke to last night." Mr. Larson was shocked. He did not expect this. His face showed surprise, then quickly changed to regret. Sarah continued, "I was there not just to watch the restaurant, but to see how people like you treat those around you. You have lost more than just respect. You have lost trust." Mr. Larson felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. He realized that money, power, and deals meant nothing if you did not have respect from others. Sarah gave him a choice. You can try to change, or you can lose everything. For the first time, Mr. Larson saw his reflection not in the mirror, but in the eyes of someone he had hurt. As Sarah left the room, Mr. Larson sat down, thinking deeply. The $3.5 billion deal was still possible, but only if he was willing to change. Meanwhile, Sam had no idea that his simple night at work was causing waves in the world of billionaires. He continued his job quietly, hoping only for peace and a better tomorrow. The story was far from over, and the truth had only just begun to shine. The morning sun cast a warm glow over the city, but inside Mr. Larson's office, the atmosphere was cold and tense. He sat behind his large desk, staring at the phone as if it held the answers he desperately needed. The meeting with Sarah had shaken him more than he wanted to admit. Mr. Larson was a man used to control, to power, and to winning. But now, for the first time in a long time, he felt uncertain. The words Sarah had spoken echoed in his mind, "You have lost more than just respect. You have lost trust." He thought about the waiter, Sam. A young man, quiet and nervous, who had done nothing but try his best. Why had he been so quick to judge and insult him? Was he really as harsh as Sarah said? Was he the kind of man he wanted to be? The phone rang again. This time, it was his assistant. "Sir, the partner is still waiting for your answer about the deal," she said softly. Mr. Larson sighed deeply. "Tell them I need more time." He hung up, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The deal was worth billions, but without respect and trust, it was meaningless. He knew he had to change something, but change was not easy for him. Meanwhile, across town, Sam arrived at the restaurant early. He was tired, but there was a quiet hope inside him. Last night's harsh words still stung, but the kind words from Sarah had given him strength. He was determined to do his best, no matter what. As Sam prepared to start his shift, Mr. Collins, the restaurant manager, approached him. "Sam, there's something you should know," he said carefully. "That woman you met last night, the undercover boss, she spoke very highly of you. She said you showed patience and kindness even when things were tough." Sam blinked, surprised. "Really? I didn't do much." Mr. Collins smiled. "Sometimes, doing your best is enough." Back at the corporate office, Mr. Larson knew he needed to do more than just think about change. He needed to act. He called his assistant and said, "Schedule a meeting with the restaurant management. I want to meet the waiter, Sam." His assistant looked surprised but wrote down the order. "Yes, sir." At the restaurant, Sarah was preparing to leave her undercover role behind. She had learned a lot, and she hoped her message had been heard. Just then, a message arrived from Mr. Larson himself. He wanted to meet Sam. Sarah smiled quietly. Maybe this was the beginning of something new. The meeting was arranged for the next day, in a quiet room at the restaurant. Mr. Larson arrived early, looking more serious than anyone had seen before. When Sam entered the room, he felt nervous but curious. Mr. Larson stood and extended his hand. "Sam, I want to apologize. What I said last night was wrong and unfair. I was frustrated, but that is no excuse for how I treated you." Sam shook his hand, surprised but grateful. "Thank you, sir. I appreciate that." Mr. Larson continued, "I've been thinking a lot since last night. I want to learn from this. Not just for myself, but for my company. I want to treat people with respect, no matter who they are." Sam smiled softly. "That means a lot, sir. Everyone deserves respect." The two men sat down and talked for a long time. Mr. Larson listened as Sam shared his dreams and challenges. He learned about Sam's family and the hard work it took to get through each day. For Mr. Larson, it was a new world, one he had ignored for too long. When the meeting ended, Mr. Larson made a promise to himself. He would work to change his attitude, starting with the people around him. He wanted to rebuild the trust he had lost, beginning with Sam. As Sam left the room, he felt a lightness he had never known. He was not just a waiter anymore. He was a person who had been seen and heard. Outside the restaurant, Sarah watched quietly. Her job as undercover boss was finished, but her heart was full. She had seen a man ready to change, and a young waiter who never gave up. But the true test was still to come. The $3.5 billion deal still hung in the balance, and the world was watching. Would respect and kindness win over power and pride? Only time would tell. The days following the meeting between Mr. Larson and Sam passed slowly but with a new energy in the air. For the first time, the billionaire felt something unfamiliar and urged to change. But change was never easy, especially for someone used to power and control. Mr. Larson returned to his office with a new mission. He wanted to fix his reputation and rebuild the trust he had lost with the business partners. But more importantly, he wanted to change how he treated people, starting with the employees who worked quietly behind the scenes. He called a meeting with his senior staff. The room was full of powerful executives, all focused on the big deal. Larson stood at the head of the table, his voice steady but firm. "We need to change how we work, not just to close this deal, but to be better leaders. Respect is not a weakness, it is a strength." Some executives looked surprised. They had never heard Larson speak this way before. But others nodded slowly, understanding that a new path was necessary. Meanwhile, at the restaurant, life continued as usual. Sam's shift started early, and he moved among the tables with quiet confidence. Something had changed inside him, too. He no longer felt invisible or small. He was part of something bigger, a chance to be seen and respected. One busy afternoon, a group of important guests arrived at the restaurant. Among them was one of Mr. Larson's business partners, the very person who had raised concerns about the billionaire's attitude. The partner was here for a meal and a meeting with the restaurant's management. Sam served the group with his usual care and attention. He noticed the partner watching him, and he smiled politely. He didn't know if this meal would change anything, but he gave his best. Later, Sarah, the undercover boss, returned for a visit. She wanted to check on how things were going and to see if the change she hoped for was real. When she walked in, she was greeted warmly by the staff, and she saw Sam working happily. Sarah found Mr. Collins, the restaurant manager, and asked about the recent changes. "The whole place feels different," Mr. Collins said with a smile. "People are kinder, and the respect runs deeper. Even Mr. Larson has sent messages encouraging us to keep up the good work." Sarah nodded. "That's what I wanted to hear." Back at his company, Mr. Larson prepared for a critical conference call. The call was with the partners involved in the $3.5 billion deal. This was his chance to prove he had changed. As the call started, Mr. Larson spoke honestly and openly. He admitted his past mistakes and promised to lead with respect and fairness. The partners listened carefully. The room was silent except for their voices on the phone. When the call ended, Mr. Larson waited nervously for the response. A few moments later, the lead partner spoke. "Mr. Larson, we appreciate your honesty and your willingness to change. We believe in second chances, and we are ready to move forward with the deal." Relief washed over Mr. Larson. The deal was saved, not just by money or power, but by respect and trust. Back at the restaurant, Sam finished his shift and walked home under the soft glow of the streetlights. His heart was full, not just because of the work he did, but because of the respect he had finally earned. That night, as he sat with his family, Sam shared the story of his meeting with Mr. Larson. His family listened with pride and hope. They saw a future that was no longer distant or impossible. In his quiet apartment, Mr. Larson sat alone, thinking about the journey he had started. He knew this was only the beginning. True change required time and effort every day. Sarah, watching from afar, smiled softly. She had seen the power of kindness and respect in action. It was a reminder that even the smallest actions could create big changes. The story of the waiter and the billionaire was no longer just about a lost deal or harsh words. It had become a story about the courage to change, the power of respect, and the hope for a better tomorrow. The city moved with its usual pace, but something inside Mr. Larson was different. He woke up that morning feeling a sense of calm he hadn't known in years. The deal was back on track, but more than that, he felt a spark of something new: hope. Mr. Larson knew that changing years of habit and attitude would not be easy. It wasn't just about a business deal, it was about becoming a better person. That thought stayed with him as he prepared for his day. At the same time, Sam was busy at the restaurant, moving gracefully between tables. Customers smiled as he served them, sensing his calm and confidence. His hard work and kind nature were slowly changing how people saw him, not just as a waiter but as someone who deserved respect. One afternoon, the restaurant received a special delivery. A letter addressed to Sam had arrived from Mr. Larson's office. Curious, Sam opened it carefully. Inside was a personal note from Mr. Larson. "Dear Sam, I want to thank you for your patience and kindness. You reminded me what respect truly means. Because of you, I am trying to become a better man. Please accept this invitation to visit my office sometime soon. I would like to talk to you more about your dreams and how I can help." Sam's heart beat fast. An invitation from a billionaire was something he had never imagined. He showed the letter to Mr. Collins, the restaurant manager, who smiled warmly. "This is a great opportunity, Sam. You deserve it." When the day of the visit arrived, Sam felt nervous but hopeful. He dressed carefully and took a deep breath before entering the tall building where Mr. Larson's company was located. Mr. Larson greeted him personally at the entrance. "Sam, welcome," he said with a genuine smile. "Today is about you." They walked through the office, where people worked busily, but the atmosphere felt warmer than Sam had expected. In a quiet room, Mr. Larson asked Sam about his life, his goals, and his challenges. Sam spoke honestly about his family, his hopes for the future, and the obstacles he faced. Mr. Larson listened carefully. Then, he said, "I want to help you, Sam. I want to create opportunities for hard-working people like you. Maybe you could even join my company one day." Sam could hardly believe his ears. "Thank you, sir. That means a lot to me." This meeting was not just a moment of kindness, it was the start of a plan. Mr. Larson began thinking about new programs to support employees at all levels, giving them chances to grow and succeed. Word spread about the change happening inside Mr. Larson's company. His employees noticed his new attitude and felt inspired to treat others better, too. The ripple effect was growing. Back at the restaurant, Sam's story became an inspiration to many. Other waiters and staff started believing that their efforts mattered, and they worked with new energy and hope. One evening, as the restaurant closed, Sam looked out the window at the city lights. He thought about how much had changed in just a short time. From being called stupid to receiving a personal invitation from a billionaire, his life was moving in a direction he had never dreamed possible. At the same time, Mr. Larson sat in his office, reflecting on his journey. He realized that real power was not in money alone but in respect and kindness. He promised himself that he would never forget the lessons he learned. Sarah, the undercover boss, watched these changes from a distance. She felt proud that her mission had helped bring out the best in people. But she also knew that true change required constant effort and that this was only the beginning. Meanwhile, the $3.5 billion deal was progressing smoothly. The partners were pleased not only with the business plan but with the new values Mr. Larson showed. Trust had returned, and with it, hope for the future. As days turned into weeks, the story of Mr. Larson and Sam became more than a business tale. It was a story about how one moment, one choice could change lives. The waiter who had once felt invisible was now a symbol of hope. The billionaire who had once been cold and proud was learning what it truly meant to lead. And the city, with its bright lights and endless possibilities, seemed a little kinder, a little warmer. The city was alive with its usual rhythm, but inside Mr. Larson's office, a new energy was taking root. The billionaire was no longer just focused on deals and profits. He was learning about leadership, respect, and kindness, and how those things could change a company, and even a life. Mr. Larson's invitation to Sam had been just the beginning. Over the past few weeks, they met several times, talking about dreams and opportunities. Sam shared his desire to one day run his own business, to help his family live a better life, and to make sure others like him were not overlooked. Mr. Larson listened, inspired by the young man's hope and determination. "Sam," he said one day, "I want to help you make your dreams real. We are starting a new program at the company to support hard-working people like you. It will give you the training and tools you need to succeed." Sam was amazed. The idea that a billionaire would invest in people like him was new, but it felt right. He thanked Mr. Larson and promised to work hard. At the restaurant, things were changing, too. The staff noticed the improvements in management and how the company valued their work. There was a new sense of pride and teamwork among the waiters, cooks, and cleaners. One afternoon, Sarah came back to visit. She was happy to see the positive changes but reminded everyone that real change takes time and commitment. "Keep believing in yourselves," she told the team. "You have the power to make a difference." Back at the corporate office, Mr. Larson worked closely with his team to create the new training program. He made sure it was open to everyone, no matter their job or background. The goal was clear: to help employees grow, gain new skills, and feel respected. During a company event, Mr. Larson stood before his employees and spoke from his heart. "I was wrong to think that money and power were the most important things. Respect and kindness are what build strong teams and strong companies. We will work together to make this a place where everyone feels valued." The employees applauded. Many had seen the change firsthand and believed in the new vision. Meanwhile, Sam was learning new skills and meeting others who shared his dreams. The program was tough, but he stayed focused. He knew this was a chance to change his future. One evening, after a long day of training, Sam received a message from his family. They were proud of him and believed in his journey. That support gave him strength. At home, Sam sat quietly, thinking about how far he had come. From a waiter who was once called stupid to a young man with hope and opportunity, his life was changing, step by step. At the same time, Mr. Larson faced challenges. Not everyone in his company agreed with the new approach. Some executives wanted to focus only on profits and deals. They worried that respect and kindness would slow down the business. But Mr. Larson was firm. "We will not lose our values," he said in a meeting. "Our success depends on how we treat people." Slowly, others began to see the truth in his words. The company's reputation improved, and customers noticed the difference. The business grew stronger because the people felt cared for. One day, Mr. Larson received a call from the lead partner in the big deal. "Your changes have made a real difference," the partner said. "We are proud to be part of this journey with you." Mr. Larson smiled. It was more than just a deal now, it was about building something lasting. At the restaurant, Sam finished his shift and walked home under the stars. He felt tired but happy. His dreams were still ahead, but now he had a path. He thought about the kindness of people like Sarah and Mr. Larson and how one small moment could change everything. The story was no longer just about a billionaire and a waiter. It was about the power of respect, the courage to change, and the hope that lives inside us all. Months had passed since the night that changed everything. The story of Mr. Larson and Sam had spread quietly, touching many lives in ways no one expected. It was no longer just about a lost deal or a harsh word, it had become a lesson about respect, kindness, and the power of change. Mr. Larson stood by the window of his office, looking out at the city skyline. The lights shone bright, but inside, he felt something brighter, a deep sense of peace. His company was no longer just a place of business, it was a community. People worked not only for paychecks but because they believed in what they were building together. The training programs were thriving. Employees at every level were learning, growing, and supporting one another. Sam was among them, no longer just a waiter, but a shining example of what respect and opportunity could create. One afternoon, Mr. Larson invited Sam to a special event at the company's headquarters. The room was filled with employees, managers, and partners. Everyone was eager to hear from the two men whose story had inspired so many. Mr. Larson stepped to the podium first. This journey has taught me the most important lesson of all: respect is the foundation of success. When we value people, we build trust and strength that money alone cannot buy. The room burst into applause. Then, Sam took the stage. His voice was steady, filled with hope and gratitude. "I was just a waiter, trying to do my best. But someone believed in me, even when I doubted myself. That belief changed my life." He looked around at the faces before him. "I want everyone here to know that no matter where you start, respect and kindness can open doors. We all deserve a chance to be seen and heard." The crowd cheered, moved by Sam's words. After the event, Mr. Larson and Sam spoke privately. "You've come a long way," Mr. Larson said, smiling. Sam nodded. "Thanks to you, sir. But I learned more from the people who believed in respect and kindness." Mr. Larson nodded thoughtfully. "That's the legacy we want to leave, a world where respect guides our actions." Outside the event, Sarah watched quietly. She felt proud to have played a part in this story, but more than that, she saw how one moment of kindness could ripple outward, touching many lives. As the evening sky turned deep blue, Sam walked home, feeling hopeful about the future. He thought about his family, his dreams, and the journey ahead. He knew challenges would still come, but now, he was ready. Because respect was more than a word, it was a way of life. The story of the billionaire who called a waiter stupid, the undercover boss who revealed the truth, and the lost $3.5 billion deal had become a story about hope, change, and the power of kindness. And it all began with one simple choice: to treat others with respect.